Oh, good morning. So according to the COVID guidelines, only the leader is singing. And well, you know that I'm a little shy sometimes. So we're still going to play the song. And Nat's going to go ahead and go through the words and let's just sing it in our heads. All right. Oh my goodness, our hearts. And you know what? This is what we should do. That very last, nothing is impossible. Let's just scream that out. In our hearts, okay? All right, Nat, go ahead and hit it. I'll start it out and step away and you'll get those words going on the Zoom too. Thank you. Get ready to sing it in your hearts.
Wilbur and Orville had a dream. Nothing is impossible. Imagine if a man took wing. Nothing is impossible. People laugh, it can't be done. Man's not meant to fly. Their little dream changed everything. They dared to touch the sky. Nothing is impossible. Dreams are made to shine. When you blow by every obstacle and move like you're unstoppable, nothing is impossible. There's a place inside of you where nothing is impossible. Oh, the great things you will do, 'cause nothing is impossible. You were born into this world with everything you need. Hold on to your heart, the magic starts the moment you believe. Nothing is impossible. Dreams are made to fly. When you blow by every obstacle and move like you're unstoppable, nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. You were born to shine. When you blow by every obstacle and move like you're unstoppable, nothing is impossible.
Good morning, good morning. All our lovely Unitex. We're going to start with our statement of faith, and we're going to bring the sunshine in, so that's not on the screens though. But we're going to bring the sunshine out for the day in our statement of faith. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the good omnipotence. And our affirmation, thank you, God, that we have come to this place to release the past, celebrate the present, and embrace the future in love, peace, harmony, and prosperity. I want y'all to say this like we mean these things, right? And our congregational affirmation that will help us bring in our new minister and bring more people to our congregation as well. We at the Unity Center are a loving, diverse, inclusive, spiritual community who come together to demonstrate and live the teachings of Jesus Christ by listening, learning, and empowering ourselves and others. And we get to do prayer requests. And we remember that we pray for the desired outcome, just using first names so that we don't break any anonymity. And Yeah. Rita healing. I should be repeating these. Something that I always had. We had Rhoda for healing, Ken, Beth, and Rita. And Christy for healing. And of course, my marker is gonna. I'm sorry. What? DL and DP keeping in the light. It's not gonna work either. Okay. Yes. Okay. And I know I'm gonna include our society and all that's going on, that we find peace. So I'm going to ask us all to open our hands and our hearts together as we join in this. So if you're willing to do that. So we join together in prayer. Father, Mother, Spirit, God, we know that you are a divine intervention. We know that you will give us all that we do need. Today, we particularly affirm healing for Rhoda, for Ken, for Beth, for Rita, for Arlene and Christy, for Nick. We also add in there Nick's recovery and the strength to say no. We know that he has that power within him. We also pray for peace and joy during Pride Month as we acknowledge that all people are loved and can love whoever they desire. We also ask for prayers for DL and DP and LR, and keep them in the light. We thank you and affirm peace in our community, in our world, in our state, that all folks may realize that they are peace, that they don't have to resort to weapons to share their emotions, to express what they think they desire, that instead they can use their words, that they can use your strength in communicating that. We affirm all this to be so. We know it is the joy and the good that is ours to have. And we thank you, God, that it's done. Amen. Okay. I think, let's see. It is the first Sunday of the month, and we acknowledge our power for each month. And we'll hear a little bit more about this from our speaker, Joann, in a little bit. And our power for June is imagination. It's the ability to conceptualize and envision a different future. The disciple we acknowledge is Bartholomew, and he represents positive thoughts that are held in mind. The corresponding color that we express in our PowerPoints and in our drapery is a light blue. The location in our body and the area that we need to acknowledge is right between our eyes. So that when we, want to carry that color with us sometimes during the month to remind ourselves that we are all have parts of these powers with us when we need to call on them. And I'd invite you to repeat after me. I'll say the affirmation once, and then I'd invite us to repeat it again. So I imagine good unfolding in every area of my life. Can we all do that? I imagine good unfolding in every area of my life. And the daily word will be read by Kevin.
The word for Sunday, June 5th is truth. The light of truth shines in my heart. Like a kaleidoscope shifting patterns, dazzling colors, my life is always changing. Some of the changes I may like and others I may not, but I accept the changes nonetheless. I enjoy the pleasurable moments while learning and growing through the more unpleasant ones. No matter where I find myself along the spectrum of human experience, I take comfort in spiritual truth. God is changeless, my rock and refuge in times of struggle, and the wings that lift me in times of ease and bliss. I remain steady and calm even as I navigate life's inevitable changes, finding lasting comfort in the truth of God as absolute goodness. As I travel along my unique path, the steady light of truth shines from within me. And 1 John chapter 2, verse 8. Yet I am writing you a new commandment that is true in him and in you, because the darkness is passing away and the true light is already shining. I am the musician today, so I'm going to treat you all to a song before Joann gives her talk or her lesson for the day. How do we balance the leap between where we are and where we want to be and still manage with acceptance? The here and now we see we may want to change, but to live in the now. We must make peace with the present somehow. It's the paradox I've been struggling with for over 40 years. Are we really moving forward or just running from our fears? We may want to change, but to live in the now, we must accept the present somehow. So learn to trust and dare to laugh. Piety does come from God, well, laughter's still his better half. Let's not feel sorry for the things that could not be. There's a whole wide world of yet unseen possibility. So take that step, even if you are unsure of which direction. Take a step, even when you feel a long way from perfection. Take a step, and the next one will be shown. It's the daily dance of life, and we never dance alone. It's the paradox we've been struggling with for over 40 years. Are we really moving forward or just running from our fears? We may want to change, but to live in the now. We must make peace with the present somehow. We have to laugh when life gets serious, 'cause with the state of this old world, we could live our whole lives furious. But God's not crying when she looks at what's created. So we should all be smiling too, 'cause you know, we're all related. So take that step, Even if you are unsure of which direction, take a step. Even when you feel a long way from perfection, take a step, and the next one will be shown. It's the daily dance of life. We never dance alone. It's a daily dance of life. We never dance alone. Thank you. Now I welcome Joann Baumann.
Today's subject is imagination, or another word is vision. What we hold in our thoughts, in our minds, we help to bring about. And as our message on the board said before, it helps to put our energy into what we want to create. Imagination is vision beyond appearances. In Proverbs 29:18, it says, where there is no vision or imagination, the people perish. So we need more use of this gift of vision or imagination to stop certain things that are going on in our world or in our lives. I have a few stories to tell about that. When I was a kid growing up on the farm, and I had two little sisters, and when it's baling hay time, everybody's doing their part. So I was usually driving the tractor for the baler, but I had two little sisters. So what were they to do when everybody in the family was busy with this baling hay? Well, we couldn't find them. Ultimately, we found them in an old truck parked out behind the barn. So one of my little sisters was asked, well, what are you doing? They had a little suitcase. There was two of my sisters packed with some things. We're going to Boston. Guess where her first job was after graduating from the University of Wisconsin? Boston. So sometimes when little kids say, let's say a little boy says, I'm going to be a fireman when I grow up, and he likes playing with fire trucks, that may be the direction he's headed in. So little kids say things that, what I'm going to do when I grow up is part of their imagination or the vision, what they hold for themselves already when they're little. So my first project that I worked on as an adult, my husband and I, when we got married, we didn't have much of anything. We didn't even have a TV. So 3 months after we got married, bought a used TV for $25. So somewhere in my mind, we had a goal. We are going to build a house. So he worked for a construction company, but what kind of house did we want to build? So, I like looking at pictures and books and driving around neighborhoods that had the type of houses we wanted to build. I designed every inch of a house that was put in a blueprint and ultimately was built exactly the way I wanted. I didn't know really much about this vision at the time, but it was something I put into practice. Then there was a time later on when
I wanted a different car. And I remember here at church, at the beginning of the year, we would write out our goals for the year, what we want to accomplish or achieve. So at the bottom of the list was, I want to buy a different car. And I was usually buying low mileage used cars that fit into my budget and my lifestyle. So there was a certain car I wanted, a certain color, an Olds Cutlass Supreme. And every time I'd see a car, that description, that's what I want. Come the end of the year, other things on my list were accomplished, but not the car. Well, okay, next year. But the year wasn't over. The day after Christmas, there was a fender bender on ice over on the freeway, and I got rear-ended and my car was labeled totaled because the frame was bent. So the following weekend, I went looking for that car. Didn't find it at the first dealer. Found it at the second one, but it was under the snow in the back lot. It still wasn't inspected. Okay. Made the deal on the car at 5 to 5. The last day of the year. Had to wait for the insurance check and the inspection. And the car was mine. So in rehabbing boarded up foreclosure houses, it takes imagination to see what you want the house to look like when you Miracle House, number one. So then when the house was when the house was rehabbed, then to turn the basement into a rec room. So the basement literally was like a junk room. But my vision was it'll be all cleared out. It will have finished walls, we'll have carpeting and furniture. So I drew the design. Excuse me. Made the list of what I needed to buy at Menards and got the stuff as the carpenter do the work. Job completed. So over the years, there was the house I bought that I would live in next door to Miracle House. When I bought it, a friend of mine said, I cried. You bought that old rundown house? But I had a vision for it. Of course, it took some money. New kitchens, new bathrooms, siding. Ultimately, well, it's a 3-story house, walk-up attic. Finish up the attic, make closets for donated clothing. We needed closets for donated bedding. We needed closets for storing Christmas decorations. ultimately, the whole third floor finished. The house up the street. I call it the 2220 house. Same thing. Finished the first floor, the second floor, and turned part of the third floor into living space. Again, I drew the design, went to Menards and got what was needed, had the carpenters do the work, or some of our guys who live there. Then there was the apartment building. That was a boarded up foreclosure, been sitting vacant for a number of years, had a bad reputation in the neighborhood. But that was a stretch of my finances and credit, endurance, patience. But God brought it to a completion. It took 18 months to get it done. And some of the people here came and helped painted and cleaned. And it was the biggest project I ever undertook. Oh. Now I'm ready to sell it to as part of my retirement plan and part with these properties. So I've used this imagination or vision in with all of these projects. Over the years, we've heard a lot about visualization and visualization to help in a healing process. There are people with cancer who may visualize little Pac-Men, which are antibodies, gobbling up cancer cells. And it works. Or other areas of their bodies that need the healing. Visualization works. So Dr. Bernie Siegel was one who really promoted this, and there have been others along the way. Now, we go to a broader area of what's going on in our community. My handyman, Mike, and I were part of Washington Park Partners. That was a program to rehab Washington Park area of our city. Had lots of boarded up foreclosure houses, high in crime, high in drug activity. So as part of the meetings, we talked about what we had started by the boarded up foreclosure houses, fix them up, rent to responsible people, no tolerance for drug activity and so forth. If you don't like what's happening with the vacant lot or the vacant house on the lot, buy it, fix it up, take control over it. So part of what Mike and I started, we shared with the group how you can make a difference. So our street got rehabbed with, first of all, the houses that we rehabbed. Secondly, Habitat for Humanity came in and built a lot of new houses on the vacant lots. Then Gorman Company bought up the rest of the boarded up foreclosure houses And street by street, improvements were made. Our street has only one house left that needs to be torn down, and we offered to buy it 10 years ago. And it's too far gone now. So people can hold a vision for changes they want in a neighborhood and make it happen. So part of my contribution also in teaching at the county jail, teaching people who are stuck in I'll say a life of crime, but living outside the law or doing unlawful things, selling drugs. Hold a vision for yourself that you don't need to stay stuck in this lifestyle. So giving lots of examples of people who succeeded at this. After 27 years of teaching there, lots of lives have been transformed. Also in sending out the same material that I used in the classes to guys in prison, lives were changing. Part of my retirement is writing a book about all this. Then there were prison reform meetings held, University of Wisconsin, Marquette University, and even meetings in Madison. The goal was what could be done while guys are in prison so that when they get out, they have a productive life. So my contribution was spiritual awareness. That was my thing. But going back to the 70s, I played a major role in changing what was happening with the school system. Back then, if you didn't belong to a church that had a school, you had no choice in a school. The choice was the public school. I was a rebel. I decided to do homeschooling through Christian Liberty Academy in Northern Illinois. Well, that was against the law. I was taken to court for failing to send my child to school. I was found guilty, sentenced to 9 months of probation. I was required to send my child to school. Well, we moved out of state and we were involved with a church group. And they didn't have a school at the time. So I said, I moved here so to help you guys start a school, but I don't know how to do it. As a group, we started the school all through the kindergarten to 12th grade. I came back to Wisconsin to teach other groups of people that were doing homeschool how to set up a little school, even if it was 2 families. So then it wasn't just homeschool. And a family who was about to lose their children if they were found guilty of running a homeschool, they put their children in a school that I started. And their case was dropped. About a year or so later, this now is in the early 1980s, the state of Wisconsin wanted to pass a law that made private schools answer to the local public school. That law was passed in Iowa, and pastor of a small church with a school in the basement The church was padlocked, the pastor sent to jail. Did Wisconsin want a law like that? No. Thousands of people showed up at the Capitol, and that law did not pass. Homeschooling was approved. So out of that has come charter schools, voucher schools, alternative schools. So a change was made in the school system, starting with 2 cases in Wisconsin, mine and this other family. So if you have a thought in mind of a goal that you want to achieve, you can make it happen. So way back then, changing the law about school choice was big on my agenda. I wanted my children to have a Christian education. And so now that's 50 years, and we have school choice, voucher schools, alternative schools, which has flourished in the last couple of years during the pandemic. So it was something that I had in mind and helped to bring it to pass. So then, of course, what I've been involved with with the prison system, that's a harder one to bring about change, because there's a lot of prejudice against the people that you're trying to help. And so we continue to work at it, but there's more going on within the systems to bring about rehab while they're in prison, but also the parole plans, to have a plan set up for what you do the day you leave. And those plans have to be approved before you can leave. So that's another thing, that when people put their minds and goals together, you can bring about change. So in another area, there was a Berlin Wall some decades ago, but people at the Pentagon got together every morning before work, prayed that the Berlin Wall could come down. And it came down without a shot being fired. So again, it took a group of people with a goal in their minds that a change could happen. Then there's another major story we probably haven't heard about. I read this book called Creating Shared Vision by Marjorie Parker. It's the true story of what happened in the country of Sweden, the largest manufacturer and largest employer in the country, was about to go under. They were the biggest polluter in the country. If that company went under, the country of Sweden could have gone bankrupt. So a woman by the name of Marjorie Parker went to the company with the idea that if we get together, we all put in our ideas of how we could save this company, the changes that needed to be made. So not everybody in the company participated, but ultimately it was a success. And one of the people who put up the money to publish the story was someone I came to know. So a very powerful story of what people can accomplish to save a company, to save an economy of a country, creating shared vision. So we all may have some personal goals that we would like to achieve. So by focusing on those, writing them down, sharing it with someone, praying about it, we help to bring about the goal that we want to achieve. As a community right now, the big thing is gun violence and racing cars. And so right now, you hear on the news that there are organizations and churches gathering together to talk about and discuss what we can do to change things. So again, this is another opportunity for a community, a city, to join together with thought, vision, imagination. What can be done to change the things that are happening in the community that need to be changed to have a more peaceful environment in our city. So that's going on right now. So for our church, do we want to have some ideas how we can help this church to thrive, survive, be a shining light for people to come in to receive inspiration, to receive healing, receive motivation? We have a wonderful library. We have wonderful speakers. We've had wonderful ministers over the years. So as we continue that on, we will thrive, survive, and be a beacon of light to people who need light as they are living in some sort of darkness. So usually I give of the scriptures first. In Romans 12, verse 2, it says, "Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." So instead of staying focused on what is all wrong, we need to focus on what is our goal, what is right, what good do we want to bring about. And as we hold those thoughts in our mind, we help to bring it about. And going back to that verse in Proverbs, where there is no vision or imagination, the people perish. So for the segments of society that are living in depression, some perish because they just cannot see beyond their present difficulties. So whether it involves with drug use or alcohol or a life of poverty. Some kids that grow up in poverty never see beyond what they see in their community. They don't think about going to college. And some years ago, when I was working with the kids in the neighborhood and even brought some to church here a couple times, one of the boys said, "Oh, I'd like to have a house like that." Put it in your mind that someday you can live in this nice neighborhood and have a house like that. So he's on his way. He's, working, got a car, finished high school. So there's steps you need to take to get to that. So giving inspiration to people who are stuck in their darkness, they perish generation after generation because without vision or imagination, people perish. So from A Course in Miracles, it says, God is my strength and vision is his gift. God's gift to me must be mine because he gave them to me. So we have this gift of being able to imagine or visualize what we want as an outcome in our life. A Course in Miracles also states, to think like God is to share his certainty of what you are, and to create like him is to share the perfect love he shares with you. So he gave us this gift to create, but it starts with what we hold in our minds. And so we also know that the power of the spoken word is also part of this process. Another quote from the Course says, as long as you believe what your physical sight tells you, your attempts at correction will be misdirected. The real vision is obscured. So when we look at a present circumstance or situation or condition, and that's all we see, that's when you feel stuck. The real vision is obscured. The real outcome is what we don't see with our physical eyes right now. But the real vision that we hold in our mind is what we can bring about. So I'm sure each of you have some kind of goal you'd like to achieve, whether it's a kitchen you want to remodel, or it's a new car, or rehabbing the physical body. I've had some challenges lately, and the cough is just a symbol of some of the things that I've had to deal with lately, with dealing with people who are used to not behaving can be a challenge and sometimes physically threatening. So this too shall pass. And so right now, my goal is carrying out this retirement plan of retiring from all the rental properties, writing that book, and devoting my time to the church. So I'm sure that in due time, this will all come about, but there's work to be done. So I hope I've given you some inspiration that whatever you need to bring about in your life, start thinking about it. Hold those thoughts in mind. Plan, prepare. You know, there's even a story of some very rich people. Tyler Perry, who has written the many movies, starred in many. There was a time he was homeless, but he would go look at nice houses with the idea that someday he would own one of them. And he lived in his car. So look where he's at today, a very successful screenwriter, successful movies and so forth. So going from homeless to where he's at. And then there's this movie called From Homeless to Harvard. True story of a young girl who brought up in poverty, drug addicted parents, Mother died of AIDS. Father was about to die of AIDS. She decided if she was going to make something of her life, she had to go to school. She wasn't going to school. She didn't have clean clothes. There was no running water in the house to wash. But she was smart. At high school, she completed 4 years of high school in 2 years, and then applied to the New York Times for a scholarship to go to Harvard. She didn't even have an address. She used her father's address at a home shelter for men dying of AIDS. She did work a job at a restaurant that gave her the ability to eat. But during her high school years, she lived on the subway and did her homework on the subway, on the trains. So she had to give her speech to the New York Times why she deserved to get that scholarship. One of her longtime friends, who was homeless as well, back in this high school episode, who do you think you are that you can graduate from school? Don't let other people opinions of you hold you back. Then came the college thing. Who do you think you are that you can go to college? But she achieved that goal. She won a 4-year scholarship to Harvard. She was featured on the Oprah Winfrey Show in her 3rd year of the college. And it was made into a movie. And I think Oprah Winfrey produced the movie, From Homeless to Harvard. So holding a goal in your mind, no matter where you are, your situation in life, you can outgrow that situation in your life and accomplish the goal. So you may not be homeless. You may not be this or that, but you all have some kind of goal that you'd like to achieve yet or accomplish. Hold that thought in your mind and allow that seed to grow. So even a big oak tree starts with that little bitty acorn. And inside that little acorn is the giant oak tree. So we'll take this into meditation. So for you personally, hold a thought in your mind of something you want to achieve. So whether it's an improvement in your health or a health challenge that you want to overcome, see yourself physically well, mentally sharp. If there's a situation in your life that an improvement of finances is needed, see yourself being blessed with everything you need. Sometimes blessings come as surprises, an opportunity, a gift. If you would like to see peace and harmony in our city, visualize that our leaders come together with solutions for peace and of the violence that goes on in the city. We certainly are in need of more cooperation and harmony amongst our elected officials in our state capital and in our nation's capital. That they all work together for the good of all of our citizens of this country. There are solutions to improve the economy. There are solutions for our southern border. And just as the times of old and ancient Egypt and in centuries past, there have been plagues. And the plagues come to an end. God has the power to subdue any kind of germ or virus. We become a nation of healthy, strong people, united in one nation under God. And we hold this thought of a peaceful resolution for the war in Ukraine and for the prosperity and blessings for the country to be rebuilt. Our Creator God is not a God of lack. There is enough for everyone. There is plenty and more than enough for everyone. So as we hold these thoughts in our mind and we pray together, we will ultimately see the blessings come forward. And like the acorn that holds the possibility of a giant oak tree, so also do our thoughts and what we hold in our thoughts become a blessing to ourselves, to our community, to our nation, and to the world. And we're thankful for all the blessings that come. And now it's time for the offering prayer.
We invite you to take your offering in your hands, those at home and those in the chapel here, as we join. And those that think they cannot give something monetarily, please think of your time, your energy that we give to our community here, and take that in your hands and express it as well. As we join together, there is no lack or limitation. Freely I give, and freely I receive from God's abundance. I am blessed as I give, and unity is blessed in receiving. Thank you. And those who are at home, you can send in your donations via mail and or through our website. Thank you for doing that. And we will hear some more music from Kevin.
So one of the terms that Reverend Mary used to use was my yesterday self. And that was referring to the person that she used to be, that she'd grown out of or away from. And so I wrote this song using that term. My yesterday self is up on a shelf. That's where it will stay. I loved it for sure, but I don't need it no more. Today is a brand new day. Today is a brand new day. My yesterday self was anxious. My yesterday self was small. My yesterday self was angry, but that won't do at all. Won't do at all. Today I team with spirit, aligned with creative force. And I need not correct, I just let spirit run its course. Spirit run its course. So my yesterday self is up on a shelf. I finally put it away. I needed it then, but I'm growing again. And today is a brand new day. Today is a brand new day. My yesterday self was judgy. My yesterday self had fear. My yesterday self was cranky. But this is a whole new year. A whole new year. My will align. My higher self works for the greatest good. Results achieved are far beyond what I thought I could. Just what I thought I could. So my yesterday self is up on the shelf, and that is where it will stay. I loved it for sure, but I don't need it no more. Today is a brand new day. Today is a brand new day. Thank you.
We bring the gifts forward. And again, all of you extend the blessings to these would be greatly appreciated. We thank you, God, that all of us are able to donate to this community, and we know that it will go out and prosper all of us in our own works. It will be divinely doubled, tripled, and extended to do your good to our own lives and to those in our community and the world. Okay, everybody's favorite time is coming up. Announcements. I'm gonna ask Nat to share those too, so that those on virtual can see them as well. Okay, I'd like to know, how many are participating in the book study? I have a few hands in here. Are you having a good time? Learning lots? Okay. And cool, everybody is invited to join that on Thursdays, whether here or virtually. And our book is What Happened to You by Oprah Winfrey and Dr. Bruce Perry. That's Thursdays from 9:30 to 11 in person, like I said, or virtually. Following that is the Silent Unity Prayer Service. And again, you can join us virtually or join us in person. And just a few minutes, just that short time of bringing together collective prayer again to have what we desire most in the world. A Course in Miracles every Sunday around 11:45. It gives everybody a chance to get some treats and coffee and socialize a little bit, led by Joann Baumann. So you're welcome to join in that as well. A Course in Miracles is miracle-minded thinking, taking what we want in our thoughts and making it happen, and focusing on the principles of universal love and forgiveness. Of course, we have our website, the Unity Center in Milwaukee.com. We have the bulletin boards, we have insights going on, we have a past Sunday services, we have information about all the classes and upcoming events that we have in our community. And you're welcome to take a look at that. You're invited to take a look at that. It helps spread the word also as it gets out into cyberspace for us. The Life Journey groups meet the second and fourth Monday from 6:30 to 8:15. All you've got to do is bring yourself and an open mind to join the groups. And a warm heart helps too, because you get to know each other pretty intimately in those. And you don't have to show up every time either. Just pop in, get to share your heart and other people's hearts in those discussions. And the Space Symposium presents for the next several weeks. We are doing movies on Friday nights about stories that are supposed to be true about UFOs. This next one on Friday at 8 p.m. is The Fourth Kind. You can come join the movie. There's discussion afterwards, and it's on a love offering basis. And I believe those are family-friendly movies too, so. Come on up.
Hello. Yeah, I run a thing called the Space Symposium. It's supposed to be, well, I run Solar Wind Media, which is a nonprofit arts and education organization. And once a year we try to do, well, I do 2 different festivals, one in the fall, which is called the Spirit Arts Festival. That's in September. And in spring we do the Space Symposium. And what the Space Symposium is or was supposed to be, because COVID interrupted us for a couple of years, is bringing together of art and design and science and technology into like a weekend event with guest speakers and programs and films and so on. This year we picked, trying to pick up from COVID, we picked UFOs simply because it's the easiest program for us to put together without a lot of money budgeting us. And instead of doing it on a weekend, we decided to do it as a series of Friday night films. And I'm trying to get a couple of guest speakers to come in on one of the nights too. The good folks here have decided to let me stay here and do this on Friday nights. So the one we have coming on Friday is The Fourth Kind is scheduled for later. Haven't given you a schedule yet. The one we have coming this Friday night is Fire in the Sky, which is the Travis Walton story. It's about a kid from Texas who was abducted and the experiences he went through. Again, it's supposedly a true story, but this is a feature film based on it. So you're welcome to come. Please donate because I'm not charging admission, but we're set to go at 8 o'clock and you would be right here. Thanks.
Wonderful. Sounds like an adventure. We are always looking for volunteers. This isn't all that much work. Get the screens right in front of you. You can, as somebody says, MC, podium platform, help out with coffee, greeters. Just again, be an inviting community to all those who enter our doors so that we can keep expanding. Folks did a beautiful job outside about a week and 2 weeks ago, isn't it? Saturday, spiffing up our gardens and our lawn. We want to be able to keep that presence open and inviting as well. If you can help once a month, once every couple months, great. Our sound team has AV tech team has diminished by one person as Gail has stepped down and retired because she's doing more with her freelance work. We could use a hand back there as well. Full training, you get videos, you get written out, all that kind of stuff as well. But everything. Diane back there is our coordinator. See her. If there's anything, all of us have talents. And there's some place that it can be shared here. I'm sure of that. And talk to her. She'll find a place for you. So, and then I'm going to ask Kevin to lead a birthday anniversary song. Didn't know that. It's the first of the month, and we always honor those with birthdays or anniversaries. And other than me, who else? And what's your Candy? Okay. Anybody else celebrating birthdays or anniversaries this month? And I think there's one at least online. Diane? I didn't see it. Your hand was right in the window. I didn't see you, Diane. Awesome. Okay. And we're going to, because we're not supposed to technically be singing out loud, we're going to kind of whisper it. We'll let Kevin lead.
Okay.
So.
You have me on? Okay. Happy birthday or anniversary to you. 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 We love you. We bless you. We truly appreciate you. And we behold the God in Christ in you. Amen.
So I am going to invite us to do something a little different with the peace song. Kevin had no idea I was doing this. As I was sitting there, I got this little God moment. I invite everybody to stand. I want you to face the outside windows. I want you to picture yourself as a very peaceful, calm person. Take a couple breaths in to bring that to yourself if you need to. And going from your heart out to the world, to the universe, we're going to share the peace. And again, I know we can't really sing, so we're going to envision that peace going out from us as we go through the peace song. Emotions. Protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and so it is. And thank you all for joining us here and virtually. Send you out on a peaceful